I believe that all things are connected in life, in music, in violin playing. So if we are physically restricted and tense and blocked and things don't feel like they flow, it directly affects your musicianship. And the point of playing an instrument is to express something and to be able to kind of give something to people. So if you're tense and physically deeply uncomfortable, do you really feel like giving the message of music to people? My experience is not really. You feel insecure and you feel uncomfortable. So I want to go back to those basics of a physical comfort that I believe are so vitally important to playing well and playing with expression. So I would like to start on your body stance before you even pick up the violin. The first thing not to do is lock your knees, either backwards or forwards if you can knock your knees backwards, so your knees should feel as fluid as possible. For the violin, a lot of the time people will tell you to kind of bring your shoulders right back. I don't think that's necessarily right for the violin. I think a good thing to do is to lift them up high and then just drop them down so that they feel very kind of centered and weighted. You don't want to be pulling your shoulders down like a ballerina or back, just something that feels kind of quite fluid. All the same things apply with your arms. One thing I would strongly advise is to do some kind of air playing. So if you just kind of are swinging your arms back and forth and then you just swing them up into a natural playing position. Now when you get to this position you can see that I'm kind of bouncing my arms up and down. That is to try to feel the natural weight of both my arms. You don't really need muscle tension to play the violin. What you need is to tap into the natural weight of what is in your fingers and in your arms. The violin will thank you for it. It's only a delicate instrument. It doesn't need brute force.
In the words of the great Yehudi Menuhin, holding the violin is a matter of balance and of flexibility. So only once these two things are mastered can you really begin to apply some strength and some pressure.
So again, if we go back to this swinging motion and then just feeling the weight of the arms like this. One thing I would advise you to do is to get together with someone else and play a kind of game with them, which is to ask them to hold their arm. Relax it, and then at some point you let go and their arm should flop to the ground, but if they're like most people in the world, it won't. You'll see that they're actually still holding their arm up. Now that is how you should feel, especially with the right hand. What you should feel is just that the arm sinks into the string. Not that you're holding it up above the string or that you're pushing down, but that it's just sinking into the string. So this is really for all the really young ones, courtesy of the wonderful people at Systema Scotland and Francis Cummings, who's a great friend of mine and a huge inspiration, so thank you to them. Fidgeting fingers, rotating wrists. Don't do it too much, otherwise you might hurt your wrists, but go one way and then go the other way. Elevating elbows. The most sensible thing to do is lift up for your instrument. So with the violin, it's like that. Shrugging shoulders. Everybody knows how to shrug their shoulders. So you just shrug and then drop. Shivering shoulders. And that is just to loosen up your upper back. Bobbing body, so you want to just bob up and down. Noble neck, knobbly neck. Noble neck. Noble neck, which means that it's not going to be bowing down in shame like this. It's not going to be tense and back like that, but it's just going to be relaxed and noble. Your hips are incredibly important that they're not locked. So we're going to sway the hips, swaying hips from side to side. Hula hooping hips. So all the way around. Who's good at hula hooping? I don't think I was ever very good at hula hooping. Twitching toes. High heels and then roll back onto your feet so you feel nice and grounded. That's up to high heels and then roll back and I'm comfortable.
So for some slightly more advanced and more yoga-based body warm-ups, I've linked below in the description box to a video that is courtesy of yoga and violin expert and my really great friend, Elena Urioste. She is actually co-founder of something called Intermission, which unites music, movement, and mindfulness. So for all the adults, the kids can join in too, and for kind of the older students, I would strongly recommend you take a look at that video.
So what I'm going to show you now is about the violin playing position. I see a lot of people with their necks really far out like that, a lot of people with their necks right down. All of that is unnatural and not good for your physical comfort. So I want, rather than thinking that you're coming to your instrument, I want you to think that you are you, as you are, your shoulder is where it is, and so is your neck, and you bring the violin into that position. Experiment with where that feels comfortable. Does it feel comfortable further up your shoulder? Does it feel comfortable a bit further down? And then just rest the chin on the violin. And when you bring your violin up to your body, don't be holding onto it here. Hold onto it in this safe place, which is third position. Hold on at the neck of the violin. The next thing I want to do is, again, not worry about specific sounds or intonation or anything complicated with the left hand. And this type of exercise is good for anyone and everyone to do. I still do it if I'm feeling a little bit disorientated with my violin. I want you to take all 4 fingers and bring the elbow right underneath the violin so that your hand is naturally over the 4th finger, and you want a nice natural curve here. You don't want any awkward position. You don't want your thumb sticking out anywhere strange. You don't want the fingers to be all angular. It should feel extremely easy. Take all the pressure off of you. Nice and curved and relaxed.
Please forgive the number of times I say the word relaxed. I know I'm like a broken record. I'm sorry. It's just because it's so important, and I'm going to say it many more times in this video.
Now what I want you to start to do is bounce the fingers, and you should be bouncing them in such a relaxed way that they make this type of noise. So we're starting roughly on the G string, which means your elbow is going to be nice and underneath the violin. Then we're going to bring the elbow slightly further down like this, and then go to the D string. All 4 fingers at once. And then we're going to bring the elbow slightly further down again. Make sure that your shoulder's not risen and tense. Make sure that your neck stays noble. Make sure that none of that is awkward. So we just brought the elbow around a little bit more, and we're going to go to the A string. And this is approximately where the hand feels nice and comfortable. And you'll note the whole time, like with the vibrato exercises, my hand is resting against the violin for comfort. And now the E string, which means we have to go a little bit more in this direction. So bring your elbow slightly further out. Now what I want you to do is gently go from the G to the E. and back over to the G again. You can see that my elbow is helping to put my fingers in a position where they feel very, very comfortable. The next thing I would like you to do is not fear going up to the top of the violin and all the way down to first position. A lot of the time we get stuck in this low position and we're so scared of going up high. It just seems like a long way away and it's very uncomfortable for the arm. So I want you to start off your day with these types of exercises. So I want you to go all the way up to the top and note everything I'm doing. I'm holding onto the instrument with my right hand so I don't feel uncomfortable or like I'm going to drop it. I'm going to turn around and show you my shoulder. It's not up high, it's just sitting at a natural position, and I want you to go all the way down, all the way back up. I'm not applying any pressure with the left hand. I am just relaxed. I'm just letting my fingers do what they would do naturally. If I do this in slow motion, what you will see is by the time I get to this place, my thumb naturally starts to come underneath the violin. It stays there, but it's not able to hang on to that position. But it also certainly does not let go of the instrument and travel up here.
Okay, so let's just pause there for 1 second, because that's not 100% true that the thumb never leaves this part of the neck. I'm just going to clarify that everyone's hand size and your hand's ability to stretch is entirely unique. For some people, the only way they can get to the really high positions is by letting go of this part of the neck and instead placing the thumb on the edge of the fingerboard. But you really have to find what works for you. We'll definitely be going more into high positions in later videos.
So it's staying there, and then as I come back down again, it just rises to support my fingers. Now we're going to talk about the bow hold and the right hand position. I'd like you to start by putting your hand by your sides. I want you to just make a fist and then relax the hand, and slowly, by elevating your elbow, bring your hand up, but don't leave it behind. It's not going to look exactly the same as mine, and mine is not going to look exactly the same as somebody else's, but there's basically a natural position. So what I want you to do is just wave up and down. And you'll see it's not like I have a grip that's like that. My hand is totally fluid. So I want you to wave up and down, wave like a weird kind of wave, but it's a wave. So now we're going to bring the bow without the violin. Now I want you to hold the bow with the left hand. Keep this right hand down by your side. I want you to bring it up. Keep doing that wave. It's a nice wave. Not bringing up your shoulder like this or tensing your hand. Keep it relaxed. It's like you're hovering. And then eventually I want you just to, in a very relaxed way, let your hand go into that bow, put your pinky on top, and the thumb, naturally, if you don't try to grip the bow, should be a little bit bent. So what you should feel like now is that you're holding the bow with this hand, and that this hand is just relaxed and just sitting on top of the bow. So you know how we were doing that wave before? Now I can do the exact same thing with the bow in my hand. Now you've got a nice relaxed position, one that should be very, it shouldn't be tense and it shouldn't be uncomfortable. What I'd like you to do is lift up the pinky and tap it gently onto the bow. Now lift up the first finger and tap that gently onto the bow. Then you can do the same, you can actually do the middle two fingers together. And before you play, that's what I want you to do. Tap all the fingers onto the bow.
So, for those of you who feel that you have totally mastered the bow and violin positions that we've been through, here are a few more little exercises practiced courtesy of the beautiful students from the Osby Music Group and Laura Garner.